If you missed it last Friday, big news on jobs, 312,000 jobs added to the economy, which was well above what was expected. The unemployment rate also ticked up, but that's good news. It means there are more people participating now, more people back in the job market. Unemployment still at just 3.9%, record lows. And all-time record highs for people working, 135 million Americans. Record low unemployment in the black community, the Hispanic community, all over the place. The economy is good. And my next guest says we need to defend that against Nancy Pelosi. Alfredo Ortiz is the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network. Alfredo, welcome to the program.
Steve, thank you so much. Good to be on the program again.
Good to have you here. Always good to have you here. You say incoming Speaker Nancy Pelosi advancing this agenda that threatens the best small business climate in a generation. What are you concerned with?
Man, I am concerned with everything that they are actually putting out there. That Democratic agenda is unbelievable. I mean, they're going to kill small businesses with a mandated $15 national minimum wage. This Medicare for all idea, $32 trillion, Steve, over 10 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. What they're thinking, and no mention of course, of how they're going to pay for it. You got Ocasio-Cortez out there saying, she wants to take tax rates for the, for the wealthy up to 70, 80, 90%.
Well, in fairness, Alfredo, she's saying you need to pay your fair share, which isn't it cute? They always say your fair share, but they'll be the ones to decide what's the fair share of your paycheck.
Right. Exactly. And when you think about it, you just mentioned the numbers. They're unbelievable. And by the way, Steve, I think the actual number is 150 million Americans now that have jobs, which is unbelievable. And there's 7 million unfilled jobs out there. I mean, this is one of the best labor markets that exists out there. We got wage increases of over 3%. And, if you break that down just a little bit, Steve, there's something that's called supervisory versus non-supervisory wages, right? So kind of long talk there, but it's basically blue-collar, white-collar. For the first time, we're seeing the blue-collar wages increasing faster than the white-collar.
Well, that's exactly right.
So the wages of everyday small business owners, of everyday hardworking Americans grow, and it's because of small business owners in particular, because it's in retail, it's in hospitality, it's in the restaurant industry. I mean, these is where the small businesses are, and that's where this growth is happening, thanks to a lot of the low regulatory and low tax environment that the Trump administration put forth.
No question. So when you hear people say, and you hear this pretty much every 5 minutes on CNN or MSLSD or some of these networks, is that it's only benefiting the tax cuts, only benefit the rich, and so on and so forth. The fact of the matter is what you just pointed out, Alfredo, is exactly right. Wages at the bottom end of the spectrum are going up faster than wages anywhere else, which means the middle class is doing well in rebounding, and those that are in most need of seeing more money come in are getting it. Plus, you have this expansion of jobs, so people that were out of the job market, they've gone from the welfare line to the cafeteria line. They're not getting money handed out. They're buying a nice lunch for themselves now. And that's all positive.
That's all positive. I mean, even just from like a human psyche, I mean, people actually appreciate work. They don't appreciate unemployment lines. They don't appreciate, the unemployment check. They actually appreciate jobs. It's a good thing for the human psyche. And this is one of the things that I just don't understand what the Democrats are thinking about, because a lot of these policies are going to just put the economy on a massive halt. And I just don't understand. I mean, for example, the Green New Deal that they're talking about, which is basically getting
disaster
rid of basically cheap energy. I mean, who do you think, Steve, that's going to hurt the most? The poor and the middle class, because
if you get rid of
tax.
If you get rid of cheap energy, it will destroy America runs on vast quantities of cheap energy. It always has, and it needs to. And they say, well, you don't need that in Europe. That's right. Europe doesn't have Nebraska and Montana and Wyoming and, frankly, Michigan, vast pieces of real estate that you have to push freight across, either on rails or on 18-wheelers or however you get it there. The fact of the matter is you have to move freight around, so it takes mass quantities of energy. It has to be cheap. America now leading the world in energy production. We should capitalize on that, not commit economic suicide.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, again, it's easy for Nancy Pelosi to be making some of these statements about, all these different things that are going to, basically raise costs all across the board for your average American. Nancy Pelosi goes to the Four Seasons in Washington, D.C., gets her hair done 3-4 times a week, right? I mean, come on. I mean, she has no clue what the average American really is going through every single day. And so I find it pretty rich how they propose some of these things, and they don't even understand the actual average American.
Yeah, out of touch. And here's the thing. I sit here with my finger on the pulse of the heartland because I sit here in Michigan every day. Kind of a hard scrabble, gritty place, where we've endured the toughest part of the recession. Michigan did, I believe. Came back strong. We understand what it takes to rebuild and regroup, and it takes a resurgent small business community to lead the way, because small businesses lead the way when it comes to providing jobs and opportunities for our citizens, and we have to defend that. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are 30 million small business owners across the country. 60 million hardworking Americans work for those small businesses. Imagine that. 90 million hardworking Americans are touched by small business in some way, shape, or form. At Job Creators, that's what at Job Creators Network, that's what we're doing. We're constantly, every single day, we're fighting for that small business owner, because without that small business owner and that just resolve and everyday grit that American small business owner has, this economy would never exist. Well, exactly right. So where do we go from here? We're with Alfredo Ortiz, the president and CEO of the Job Creators Network, concerned about what Nancy Pelosi might do. Now, considering that the House is by itself and the Senate is in Republican hands and the White House is in Republican hands, I'm not terribly concerned, but you remain concerned because you think they're going to get their hands on more. What do you think? Well, thank goodness that, we actually did okay on the Senate side and obviously picked up a seat or two there, because, that's the natural roadblock here for them, right? I mean, they can pass all they want in the House. These things aren't going to go through the Senate. I mean, I know, look at this whole shutdown discussion that we're having, right now. And it's amazing how, I was looking at CNN and they keep rolling out all these people who are having these hardships. And look, my heart goes out for these folks because they are being impacted. But first of all, why didn't they do that when Obama shut down the government? I never saw a single story about how people were getting hurt. In fact, I think the stories was like, hey, this is great, I got a vacation now, and blah, 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 right? I mean, it's really amazing. And then, so from that perspective, I mean, I think, we need to get things resolved, because we can't have 2 years of absolute gridlock. So the Democrats and the Republicans, we're going to have to understand how to come together to actually lead this country in a way that's going to grow and have economic prosperity for all. We got to just resolve this shutdown thing. And I think today I'm looking forward to what the president has to say tonight. I mean, I've got my
Let me ask you this,
kind
though.
of piece of advice to the president. But
what's your advice, real quick? We got about 20 seconds, because I think it's the right thing. I think you have to make a stand. I think it's time to say enough's enough. We have to have a secure border, because anything else threatens all of us. Your thoughts, real quick, 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's the thing. This isn't about immigration. This is about gun trafficking, drug trafficking, and human trafficking, right? And especially on the drug trafficking, I think we need to call these cartels what they are. They're foreign terrorist organizations, FTOs. And with that, there's a small little provision the president can tap into. It's called U.S. Code 284, which allows for military project money for counter-narcotic activity, and then he can use some of the Pentagon funds and go fund the whole border.
There you go. Good advice. What was that code again?
U.S. Code 284.
There you go. Always an education. Alfredo Ortiz, President and CEO of the Job Creators Network. Always a pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.